Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're unpacking a concept that sounds pretty simple on the surface, but is actually anything but patience. More specifically, we're diving into this really fascinating idea called Sabr al-Jamil, which translates roughly to beautiful patience.
Right, beautiful patience. It's a powerful phrase.
It really is. And our sources for this deep dive, well, they come from a rich essay that draws on ancient wisdom, spiritual texts, and some pretty compelling historical examples.
The real mix.
Exactly. So our mission today, we want to show you why this isn't just about, passively waiting around. It's actually an active, strategic, even profoundly transformative way to handle life's toughest challenges.
It's not just enduring, but acting within the waiting.
Precisely. Get ready for some surprising insights, maybe a few aha moments. Hopefully that'll reframe how you think about patience.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, let's kick off with a story from our source that might really change how you think about patience. Imagine this. An 8-year-old is learning about patience from his mother, and she tells him this story. A young man, right? He's been studying abroad for 20 years.
20 years, that's a long time.
A very long time.
Yeah.
He finally comes home, steps up to his doorstep, and what does he see? His wife's shoes, next to a large pair of men's shoes.
Oh boy, okay.
Yeah. So immediate reaction, shock, fury, just overwhelming emotion. He grabs an axe. He's fully intending to burst into the room, confront whoever he thinks is in there.
Yeah, okay. High stakes.
Extremely high. But then, right at that critical moment, just as he's about to act, he remembers the very last lesson from his teacher.
Ah, the teacher.
Yes, the teacher who'd actually held him back for days just for this one final teaching. SABIR.
Patience.
Patience. And here's where it gets really interesting. He actually puts the axe down.
He pauses.
He takes that moment. And instead of bursting in, he turns around and goes to the village coffee house.
Okay, unexpected move.
Right. So he's there, catching up with the villagers, tells them what he saw at his house. And what do they tell him?
Let me guess. It wasn't what he thought.
Not at all. They tell him the man in his house. That's his own son, 20 years old now, grown up while he was away.
Oh, wow. So the big shoes were his son's.
Exactly. What's just fascinating here is how that single word, patience, remembered in a moment of just extreme emotion, prevented a horrifying, tragic mistake, a murder, potentially.
It really highlights that this beautiful patience, Sabr al-Jamil, it's not passive at all. It's an active choice, an intervention, really.
Yeah, intervention is a good word.
It's about knowing how to pause, how not to act hastily, how to avoid losing your strength or your trust in that heat of the moment.
That story just completely flips the script on patience, doesn't it? It's not weakness, it's actually immense strength and control.
It absolutely is. It's creating that vital space between stimulus and response.
So, okay, that's a powerful short-term example. How does this idea of active, beautiful patience play out in situations that are, well, much longer, sustained crises?
Ah, well, that leads us perfectly into our next key example, which really delves into the depth of Sabr al-Jamil. Our sources point us to a really profound, centuries-old narrative. The story of Prophet Jacob, that's hers Jacob, and his son, Prophet Joseph, or hers Yūsuf.
Right, the story of Joseph and his brothers.
Exactly. And the source presents Jacob's handling of this whole ordeal, which spans something like 30 years, as a masterclass in, well, strategic, active, and what it calls collective consciousness.
30 years. Wow. Okay, so set the scene. What happens at the beginning?
Well, you probably know the start. Joseph's brothers, jealous, they get rid of him. They come back to Jacob with Joseph's shirt smeared with fake blood, actually claiming a wolf killed him.
A terrible moment for any father. What was Jacob's response? Did he lash out?
That's the key. His immediate response, recorded right there in the Qur'an, was essentially, no. Your own souls have tricked you into doing something awful. For me, my part is beautiful patience with hope. Only Allah's help can be sought.
Beautiful patience with hope. So even in that devastating moment, he frames it actively.
Precisely. And this wasn't just, a sad lament. Our source actually calls Jacob's approach here professional crisis management.
Professional crisis management. That's a strong term.
It is. Think about it. He didn't explode. He didn't yell, I told you this would happen. He didn't banish his other sons, even though he likely suspected them. And crucially, he didn't give up hope.
Okay, so why not confront them directly if he suspected them?
Well, our source suggests Jacob understood something really important psychologically. Directly accusing them, especially without concrete proof, could have completely backfired.
How so?
It could have made them more aggressive, maybe more deceitful, pushed them deeper into denial. harden their stance against him.
I see. So by holding back, he kept the door open, in a way.
Exactly. His approach prevented what the source calls their adversarial hardening. It stopped them from just digging in their heels. It showed really magnificent leadership and decision-making, especially considering these were his problematic children, as the source puts it. He prioritized a potential future resolution over an immediate, possibly destructive confrontation.
That takes incredible foresight. But the grief must have been immense. Didn't it overwhelm him?
Oh, it absolutely took a toll. The source references the verse where it says he wept for Joseph until he actually lost his eyesight from sorrow. He cried out, "Oh, my brave son, oh, my Yūsuf."
So the pain was real and visible.
Absolutely. And this is key to Sabr al-Jamil. It also says he buried his rage deep within his chest. He felt the grief profoundly, but he controlled the anger. He transformed that potential rage into a kind of beautiful, quiet resistance.
Controlling the anger, transforming it, that seems central.
It really is. And his patience, again, it wasn't stagnant. He wasn't just sitting there blind and grieving, waiting for a miracle.
No. What did he do?
Well, the sources point to later verses where Jacob declares, "I only complain of my suffering and my grief to Allah, and I know from Allah things that you do not know." There's still that connection, that hope.
Okay.
And then, even after another son, Benjamin, is lost in Egypt, Jacob does something remarkable. He actively sends his sons again to search for Joseph and his brother.
He sends the same sons who caused the initial problem.
Yes. He tells them, "My children, go and seek news of Joseph and his brother, and despair not of Allah's mercy." Certainly no one despairs of Allah's mercy except the people who disbelieve.
Wow. That's incredible resilience.
Isn't it? One source even calls this specific instruction the launch of a new hope operation. It shows his patience is deeply intertwined with action and unwavering hope.
So, stepping back, what's the big takeaway from Jacob's decades-long ordeal?
Well, Jacob, despite losing another child, launches this new search with, as the source says, 1,000 hopes. It demonstrates this incredibly active strategic perseverance that just refuses to accept defeat.
And it works, doesn't it, eventually?
It eventually leads to that powerful reunion. Joseph is found, reveals himself, and his brothers finally confess their guilt.
And Joseph's response, after everything they did.
It's the culmination, really. He says, "Today, no blame will be placed upon you. May Allah forgive you. He is the most merciful of the merciful." Just beautiful forgiveness flowing from that long-cultivated patience.
That kind of forgiveness after so much suffering, it's hard to fathom.
It is. And this specific response, this beautiful forgiveness, it echoes powerfully in history. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, used these very same words at the conquest of Mecca.
Really?
Yes. After years of persecution, exile, fighting. When he had the power to retaliate against those who had wronged him and his followers, he stood there and said, echoing Joseph, "Today I will not reproach you. Go. You are all free."
Wow. That just underscores the transformative power of this whole concept, Sabr al-Jamil. It's not just personal, it can shape history.
Absolutely. It connects patience directly to forgiveness and reconciliation on a grand scale.
That's a truly profound narrative. It shows patience as this dynamic, strategic force, leading ultimately to resolution and even forgiveness. So, okay, how does this idea, this strategic patience, translate beyond these, major historical or spiritual figures? How does it apply in more everyday contexts?
Well, our sources explicitly talk about strategic patience as being essentially intelligent patience.
Intelligent patience, I like that.
Yeah, and it's careful to distinguish it. It's not the sneaky waiting of, say, a crocodile lying in wait or the treacherous ambush of a python. That's patience for a harmful purpose.
Right, that's patience driven by malice.
Exactly. Strategic patience, or Sabr al-Jamil, is presented as an active, actionable form of resistance, but one that requires foresight, discipline, and importantly, good intention. It's about knowing when to act and when to hold back, strategically.
Okay, so it's purposeful waiting and not predatory waiting.
Precisely, and the source uses a lovely analogy. It's like a rose waiting for the nightingale to sing its song, and the nightingale waiting for the rose to bloom.
Ah, that's beautiful. A mutual, hopeful waiting.
Yes, an active waiting rooted in hope and positive expectation. It even suggests that, in a way, you are what you wait for. Your intention shapes the nature of your patience.
You are what you wait for. That's thought-provoking. Did this apply on a larger scale too, like socially or politically?
Apparently so. The source suggests that strategic patience is actually a core characteristic of how stable democratic states conduct themselves internationally.
Interesting. How so?
Well, it implies a measured long-term approach rather than impulsive reactions. The Force even brings up that old saying, start like a Turk, finish like a German.
Oh, I've heard variations of that.
Right. And the source uses it perhaps as a kind of cultural shorthand to contrast, let's say, an initial burst of enthusiasm with the perceived German approach of thorough, strategic, persistent work towards completion. It's just one way the source tries to illustrate different cultural approaches to long-term effort and patience.
Okay, that makes sense as an illustration, but let's bring it back down to the individual level. What does this intelligent patience actually look like in practice, day to day?
Well, the source outlines some concrete examples. It means things like choosing to forgive when you actually have the power to punish.
Okay, like Joseph or Prophet Muhammad.
Exactly. It means responding to harsh words, maybe curses, with soft words instead of escalating.
De-escalation as a strategy.
Yes, and actively avoiding trivial arguments. The source references a verse reminding us that great, deadly quarrels often begin with small verbal skirmishes. So having the wisdom to just let things go.
That takes discipline.
It does. And it even suggests that sometimes strategic patience might mean changing your environment or even migrating, moving away from a toxic situation as a conscious strategy for preservation and long-term well-being. It's about choosing dignity and a better future path.
So patience isn't always about staying put and enduring. Sometimes it's about strategically moving on.
That seems to be part of the broader understanding, yes.
You know, when you frame it like that, you can really see this kind of strategic patience in action all around us, in everyday heroes.
Like who comes to mind for you?
Well, I think of a surgeon, right? Performing some incredibly intricate operation. They need maximum attention and sensitivity, as the source puts it. They're often racing against time, yet they have to maintain absolute calm, precision. That's a form of intense, active patience.
That's a great example. High pressure requires focus and control over impulse.
Or educators. Teachers patiently guiding students year after year, that requires immense dedication and a long-term view. You don't see results immediately, but you maintain that patient effort.
Absolutely. Investing in potential.
And maybe the most powerful example, certainly the most universal, mothers. Our source specifically mentions this. Waiting 9 months, 10 days for a baby.
That initial wait.
And then continuing to wait, as the source says, with love, compassion, and patience for a whole lifetime as their children grow, make mistakes, find their way. That seems like the epitome of beautiful, active patience.
It truly does. A constant, loving, guiding patience. And, our sources conclude by saying that the prophets themselves are perhaps the most perfect representatives of this strategic patience.
Because of their missions.
Yes. They never deviated, endured incredible hardship from enemies, from their own communities, sometimes even from those close to them, all while following divine guidance with this unwavering, purposeful patience. It wasn't just passive endurance. It was active adherence to their path, despite immense opposition.
So wrapping this all up, what's the core message for someone listening right now? What does Sabr al-Jamil mean for us?
I think the main takeaway is that beautiful patience is so much more than just gritting your teeth and enduring hardship.
Right, it's not just putting up with stuff.
No, it's a strategic, and it's a profoundly human way to manage crises, big or small. It's about finding ways to maintain your dignity, your kindness, your hope, even when things are incredibly difficult and push you towards negativity or destructive reactions.
It's about how you respond to the hardship.
Exactly. As our sources put it, ultimately, life is sustained by patience, made meaningful by intelligent strategies and collective actions. It's about consciously refusing to be corrupted by the ugliness of a situation.
And choosing instead to respond with beauty, with wisdom, with Sabr al-Jamil.
That's the essence of it.
So maybe the question to leave you, our listener, with is this. How might actively adopting the Sabr al-Jamil, this beautiful strategic patience, how might that transform the difficult situations in your own life? Could it help you not just endure, but actually find profound solutions, maintain your best self, and maybe even find forgiveness or reconciliation where it seems impossible right now?
That's definitely something worth considering.
Something to think about as you navigate your own deep dives in life.